Aloha! Welcome to the Friday Marketing Jam Session. I'm Tom Gaddis. I don't know if you can see this, Nick, but I'm sporting a shark shirt. See all those little sharks on there?
I thought those were machine guns.
They were not. These are the guns, baby.
Oh, wow. Jeez. Damn, put those down, Tom.
Woo! I know. Shield your eyes. Shield your eyes. Shield your eyes.
Never mind. I just saved myself from bad.
There you go. There you go. Awesome. Well, hey, welcome. I'm excited to have you here. We have a fantastic live show lined up. We're going to be talking about how we ended up having our first 100K month in the agency. We have a special guest who is one of our subject matter experts inside of our Remote Millionaires program. We just did a training on that the other day. So we're going to bring him out. We're going to do some wins. We're going to give away some prizes. I mean, it is just going to be an all-around good time. So why don't you grab a cool drink? I forgot to get one, but that's okay. And rub it in. I'm going to cue up the intro, and we will see you back here in one momento.
It's now time, the moment you've been waiting for. Get ready for the fastest 60 minutes of marketing strategies and tactics to build your remote empire from anywhere in the world. After 167 agonizing hours, they've finally returned. From the sun-soaked Sin City and the sandy shores of Maui, Hawaii, now back for a brand new Aloha Marketing Jam session. It's your hosts, the Offline Sharks and Remote Millionaires, Tom Gaddis and Nick Ponte.
Oh, man, that crowd is fired up.
And they love you today, Tom. Must be the shirt.
Well, I'm a lovable kind of guy, Nick. I don't know if you know that.
Must be the shirt.
Yeah. I'm actually, it must be the shirt. I'm actually waiting for Paige to get back. She got braces today. Woo. Time to go stoke up some more clients. Pay for that stuff. Oh, awesome. Well, hey, excited to see everybody here. Let me look in the comments here. Man, look at all these. I see Patty. What's up, Patty? Michael Marquez, Chris Taylor. What's up, James Juris? We got Norm. We got Rashid. Oh, hey, Maddie. I see Frank the Tank. Megalodon, Dorn Brenton. Everybody in the house. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Phil, awesome. Welcome, everybody. Excited to have you here. Normally when we start these live shows, I'm just going to jump right in. We usually do some shout outs. We bring out our guests, but I think we want to bring out our guest a little sooner. So we're going to bring him out and let him participate in the fun of the shout outs and the answering the questions. So give a warm welcome to our Remote Millionaires subject matter expert. And you'll probably recognize him from Professional Services Payday, our launch we just recently did, Mr. Jason Moran.
What's happening, guys? How you doing?
Doing great.
Good.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, excited to have you here.
Good to be here. Yeah, good to be here. Thank you, guys.
It's been busy over there on the Remote Millionaires front, right? I saw you've been talking to some members. And there goes Patches. Yep.
How's that been going?
Awesome.
You talked to anybody new over the last 48 hours?
Yeah, actually, we've had a couple of new people just join. Yeah, so I've had a couple of intro calls, which has been fun, and it's always exciting to have new members join the program and be a part of their journey from the foundational level, right from the start. So, yeah, it's been good.
Nice. Who'd you speak with?
Let's see here. Well, today was Chris. So I spoke with her this morning, and then let's see here. Who was it?
That's Chris Watanabe. Right?
Yeah, Watanabe. Yep.
Good job, Tom. You got the last name that time. Good job.
And then Tim Palmer, too. He's a great guy. Had a great conversation with him. That was a lot of fun.
Nice.
So,
So new agency owners, existing agency owners, where are they kind of at?
So Tim, brand new, just getting started, no prior experience. And then Chris, a little bit of experience. She's done a little bit, she's kind of dabbled a little bit in the digital marketing space. She's taken a couple other programs, but still pretty fresh, pretty new to the whole program. Yeah.
Nice. So where do you think where do you think the somebody that's very new is going to get the most value? Is it like the time that they'll basically be able to shortcut, or was he very specific on something that we were doing that he wanted to gain access to?
Yeah, I think with all new students, we see a variety of different people, from exactly who we just talked about, someone who's brand new, who's never been a part of an agency before, to somebody who's been in the game for the last, few years, 5-10 years, something like that. So we see all different types of agency owners. I think for somebody just getting started, I think one of the things that, our program does really well is really lay that solid foundation from the very beginning, in which to avoid a lot of these pitfalls that myself and you guys all experience, when we were building our agencies. So like we've all been there. We've all like been in the trenches and, had to learn. And we never had, at least, speaking for myself, like I never had a program that I could rely on, back in the early days that could help me avoid some of these issues, So I think that's a key part of it. A key part is laying that solid foundation, deciding, what type of business you want to build, what type of agency you want. Not everybody wants a huge, massive team. Some people are just happy with, having a small, intimate team and building a boutique agency. And others want to conquer the world, but that's the great thing about this. We're all individuals. We all want different things. And that's the beauty of this business, is we can all build the type of business that really suits our lifestyle.
Yeah, I think you said a couple things there. Number one, first of all, I never make mistakes. So I don't know what you guys are talking about, but everything has just went perfect for me from the get-go.
Flawless,
Tom. Luckily you guys are here. But the other part you said is like, and I think this is important because sometimes, when people are, maybe they hear about what we do in Remote Millionaires, or even what we just do in the agency, what we talk about on a daily basis, maybe they look at that and they're like, oh my gosh, like that's just a lot, right? And like the reality is, you can have a very healthy business with a very small setup. And what I mean is, you can do a few $100,000 a year and it literally be you and just a couple of people. And I think that's important for people to remember that, like, look, just because we are scaling to a 7-figure agency and interested in doing 100,000 a month, like that doesn't mean that you have to do that. Like, and to be completely upfront with everybody here, for a long time, we had no interest in scaling to 7 figures in that business, right, Nick? Like, in fact, we deliberately like kept our foot off the gas because we did, so a lot of, what we teach and what we do and all that stuff, like it's designed so that you can kind of build that to wherever you want to go, like whatever you like. Well, okay, let's just decide, well, where do you want to be? All right. And let's get there. And the reality too is like, you can't scale to $100,000 months until you're having $10,000. First you got to have $1,000 month, and then a $5,000. Like it's a process, right? So we've been through that whole process, and obviously as we're scaling now, like we're figuring out new things and adjusting things, and that's a whole nother level and layer that we're able to bring to people inside Remote Millionaires. But before that, we had all that other stuff as well. So I think that was a good point that you brought up there. I'm curious too, like, just so people know, like, what do you sort of go over on the intro calls with people? Like when somebody joins Remote Millionaires, they get in, we have all, of course, the private Slack workspace and all that stuff where everybody comes out and they can ask questions. But then you jump on calls with them. And by the way, just so you guys know out there, we also have, Jason isn't our only subject matter expert. So Jason deals with, getting new members set up. He's a Go High Level expert. High Level is a software we use in our agency, so he deals a lot with that. But, we also have Lucy, who is a sales expert who gets on calls with people regularly to help them with their sales stuff. We also do a coaching call every week with various people. We have Laura Thompson, who's a business expert, when it comes to building a team, HR, mindset, all that stuff. She's fantastic. We also
I need to get on a call with her, actually, myself.
Yeah. Like, yeah. I mean, like, and we use these people as well, right? Like the reason they're part of Remote Millionaires is because, you know, they've helped us in some way, or they're actually working in an agency like Lucy. She actually does sales in an agency. Like we didn't just bring some salesperson in that's never done that. So, and then too, we have some success coordinators, you know, Storm and Norman, as I like to call him. You know, he's been in the program for over a year now. And, you know, when he started, he had some clients, but he was doing all the work himself. Now he's got an automated business. He's got a team that's doing sales. You know, he's really, you know, he really just followed the process and has set up an amazing business. And so, you know, he comes, he hangs out and helps people and gives guidance and talks about what he's doing. Of course, Nick and I do as well. And then we also just brought JT in to do that. Because as you guys know, JT came into Remote Millionaires, had zero recurring revenue, zero, built his agency up to, I think he was doing like 18 grand a month. And then he just sold it recently and now he's retired. So we asked him like, hey, why don't you come in and help people out, right? So there's other things in there as well, but maybe, and I got sidetracked there, Jason, but maybe you can tell people kind of like what you do on your intro calls and how you talk to them.
Yeah, I think, you know, we touched on it already, but I think one of the first things that I like to do is, you know, just get to know them as a person, get to know, you know, who they are and really, you know, what type of business they want to build. You know, what are their goals? What are their aspirations? You know, where do they see themselves? You know, what are they really looking to do with this business and where do they want to take it? And from there, that usually leads us down a path of, you know, some great conversation, but also figuring out, you know, a little bit of their background. You know, maybe they've got, you know, experience in a certain industry, of they've got a direct connection with a friend or a family member in a specific industry. And so trying to figure out, you know, where's the best path to go? Is it locally focused? Is it niche specific focused? And then from there, usually that works into, you know, what types of services are they interested in? Is there a specific service that, you know, they have either had a lot of success in selling or fulfilling on, or is there a service that maybe they don't have any experience at all? So maybe I say, well, like let's focus in on some of those easier services to start off with, to deliver on, to fulfill on, and to sell. And so we start to develop this foundational plan, really, you know, really grading the land, laying the frame, laying the pipe, laying the electrical, laying that solid concrete foundation in which to really build a solid business from. And that's what I really try to focus in on that. And I try to let them know that, you know, this is not something that you need to decide in the next 45 minutes or hour. I let them know that, you know, it's okay to take time to kind of pump the brakes and really think about some of these things. You know, it makes sense to really set yourself up for success. And that's one of the great things about the RM program, you know, that's different from a lot of other programs. You know, I've been in this space since 2009, like you guys know, and I've been a part of a lot of different programs over the years. And one thing that I can say that those programs have done mainly is usually they focus in on, you know, some latest, greatest Facebook ad strategy or the latest, greatest SEO strategy or whatever it is. And that's great, you know, that's helpful. It may get you a quick win and get you a client in the door, but then what? You know, now what do we do? We've got this client. Now we're scrambling to figure out how do we actually run the business of a digital agency. That's completely different from selling. So running and setting up a solid business is completely different from just, you know, selling one-off services and building that type of business. So we really focus on that foundational aspect, laying the groundwork for that first and foremost, getting them to understand that, really think through some of these questions, think through, you know, what's really what do they really want? You know, what type of business do they really want? Mm-hmm. And taking the time and allowing themselves to take that time to figure that out. Now, not feeling like they're rushed or forced into this, but really take the time to figure that out. And once we make those decisions, you know, start to move forward and build a solid plan on top of that.
Yeah, you know, that's so true. I mean, who couldn't use more of a solid foundation? You know, it's so important in the beginning to set things up right, as you've mentioned. You know, let me ask everybody here, you know, who feels like they're maybe on a bit of a rocky foundation with their business. And by rocky, to me, that means like it's not really clear in how to get to where you want to go. It's not really clear how to have predictable clients coming in or predictable fulfillment. How much, and predictable fulfillment, I'll give you examples of both. Predictable fulfillment is, I know it takes this long and cost me this much to build this website, or I know it takes this long and cost me this much to set up these Google ads or SEO. And therefore, because I know those things, I know that I can sell at this price point and keep this much profit. That is a foundational piece that if you do not know and you don't have mapped out and it's not clear, you might feel a little unsure. You might feel uncertain on what, the growth of your business might look like. And so that's fulfillment, right? Client getting, you might be somebody that's at home right now that's like working your referral networks, getting clients kind of wherever you can get them every month. And that's honestly, that's the beginning part of building your agency, trying to get whatever wins you can wherever you can. But as you start to grow from there, what you're looking to do is have a more predictable way to have leads and clients coming in. And so if you feel one way or the other, and what I'm saying, you might feel rocky in the client getting department as well. So what you're saying, Jason, about foundational pieces, I think is so important and why we do it on the intro calls, because you're really shedding some light on the direction we're going. A lot of people, they join and they're like, I don't really know how to do this. Where are we going? How do we get there? And it's so important that they know where we're trying to go and where we're going to go and how we're going to get them there. And it is building that foundation, because, that foundation piece, it really is so important if you're going to live the remote life, or live around your business in a way where you need it to operate when you're not there. If you don't have those foundational pieces in place and then you go to go on vacation, you're going to come back and there's going to be a lot of fires. You might have some crazy credit card debt because you put your credit card on a ad account that went, astronomically to the roof, but you had nobody there to manage it or watch it or let you know. So foundation, super important. Obviously, every house starts with a foundation, a solid foundation. So it's so important that we do shed some light on that as the very first place to start for any new RM member. Don't you think, Tom?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's, like we always talk about in there, like, okay, well, look, there's really no secret, right? To if you're going to build a business, the first thing you have to have is consistent prospecting. That's the foundation, right? Consistent prospecting. So if you're not at that point yet, and what do I mean by consistent prospecting? Like, that means prospecting is happening Monday through Friday, every day, right? In some form, some way or another. Now, obviously you can layer in other things as well, like inbound and things like that. So, but yeah, to me, that's like the big foundation, right? Like, just for a lot of people, it's just getting that first part set up, like they're like, oh, we just don't know how to do that part. So,
yeah. Well, and that's what, and I said this on the training that we did the other day, by the way. Who here was on that training? Put a 1 in the chat if you're on that training. Put a 2 in the chat if you have not seen that training yet. We need to make sure that everybody sees it, because what we're talking about with the foundation pieces here, we really dive deep into that. And I did see that somebody mentioned that that's their biggest issue, about the slump that they're in. They have the tools, they need to establish the foundation. So if you are somebody like that is feeling this way as well, you're definitely going to want to go watch that training, because I mean, for us, like it is the beginning piece. So
yeah. Awesome. Well, what do you guys think? Why don't we take a step back and do some shout outs?
Let's do it.
Sounds good.
Let's do some shout outs. All right. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen here. We got some good shout outs this week. So every week we like to celebrate the wins that people share in the community. So, man, look at this. Shushan is killing it with the graphics. Man, it looks so great. It looks so nice work, Shushan.
Cool.
Nice work, Shushan. Yep. Okay, so first shout out goes to Ash Butler. He sold an AGM listing, Agency Growth Machine, baby. Talk about consistent prospecting. There you go.
Nice.
That's a design and print a couple of PVC banners, redesign and print 250 business cards. So 340 American dollars he sold the listing for. That's great, Ash. Way to go, man.
Nice.
Sarah Moon and Paul Addington, who, by the way, are Remote Millionaires alumni. They closed an annual SEO package, $8,292. They're hoping to get it to grow monthly.
Wow.
What a deal. What a deal.
Yeah.
6-figure client for the win.
Yep. For the win. And
I'm
Jacqueline,
not surprised.
Yeah. Jacqueline Heath closed a $500 a month social media package for an author, 1 social media post daily plus 2 bespoke posts per week, $500. You can't tell, but Jacqueline is wearing a Remote Millionaires t-shirt in that picture. That's the top of the diamond of the logo.
Nice.
Right? So really great wins there. Next up, we've got Yogesh, sold a recurring package, SEO copywriting, and Google My Business service, $550 a month. That's a solid win.
Nice.
Yeah. That's a solid win. Bill Stanley, who is a RM member, sold 3 projects for project management, $7,500, $4,200 plus $1,800, $13,500. Wow. Awesome work, Bill.
Love
Dollar
it.
Bill. We call Bill Stanley Dollar Bill.
Dollar Bill, yep. Dollar Bill.
That's a nickname.
Dollar Bill. And then Raymond Hobble landed another web design from his new AGM site. Look at that. Using it the way we talk about in the training, right? As a foot in the door and closing deals on top of that. He got paid in full, $500 for the site and $100 a month for an AGM listing. $600 total. Solid win, man. Solid win.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Next up, we got Mr. Cody Weaver. He closed a real estate investor for managing their Google business profile with a little bit of paid ads, $675 a month. I don't know why that says $650, but $675 a month. So congratulations, nice. Cody. Yeah, that's awesome. So for those of you that are keeping track at home, that's a combined total of $24,432 for the week of March 4th through March 10th. The grand total since the start of 2023, we're closing in on 300K. So 298,305 since the start of 2023. Remember, I remind everybody of this every week, but last year, by the end of 2022, we had closed 1.6 million. So we want to hit 3 million. So if you're out there having success, post your wins so we can track that. We want to hit that goal. But excellent work, everybody. Excellent work. Yeah, awesome. And one more thing we can do, and then we want to take some questions and talk some more with Jason here. But one more thing we can do is our member of the week. I want to share that. So this is a good one. I was excited to see this. So every week we like to acknowledge someone who's been a good steward of our community, right? By making them member of the week. They get this little Offline Sharks box treasure chest sent to them. Hold on, let me find my present button here.
Man, Norm, congrats. Norm says he's going to hit 100 or 300K this year alone.
That's fantastic.
Norm, what was your, so Norm, everybody, he's a website designer is really where he started out. So he was selling websites a la carte, exactly how I got into this too, right? My first client was a website client, and then I built multiple, and then I was struggling because I wanted to sell some subscription services. So now he's at 300K. What was the your revenue at when you joined RM? Now you're looking at 300K. Just wanted to kind of point out the difference.
Yeah, Nick, while Norm's doing that, let me do the member of the week.
Sure.
All right, here we go. So this week, our member of the week is Sarah Moon and Paul Addington. Congratulations, you guys. Somebody from the team is going to be reaching out. The 6-figure win. Super, super excited to see you guys having success on what you're doing. So somebody from the team will reach out. We got a treasure chest coming your way. Congratulations on being member of the week.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
Like I said, I'm not surprised out of the dynamic duo.
Yep.
Paul and Sarah. Awesome.
Yeah. All right.
It's a lot of our, and we say it all the time, our most successful members usually show up in RM, and usually see their wins come through consistently through, the Facebook group or, through our channels and Remote Millionaires. We have a celebrations channel. And, usually it's because they're ready to take action. Most people, when you're kind of sitting out, you're on the perimeter, you're on the outside looking in. Anybody feel like they're on the outside of this community, kind of looking in, just waiting? Should this be my moment? Should I actually jump in? Should today be the day? Am I going to actually start to, dive in and make traction? When people usually do that, and they do that with RM, then they really do get traction, So it's just one of the fantastic things that we see. And it's really awesome to be a part of it. And I know for Jason, we were talking the other day, it's what you're passionate about, like being able to help share your experience in building businesses similar to what your business is set up like. Maybe could you share a little bit about that? Because I think that's important.
Yeah. I think, it's been something that, weighed on my heart for a long time. I think I've always enjoyed teaching and mentoring to some extent, just never really had the opportunity, and it's something that, it's a passion of mine. It's something that I care deeply about. And every time I'm on a call with a student, I make sure that I give them my undivided attention, that I give them 110% every time. And I make sure that they feel like they're getting that just one-on-one attention that they need and that they deserve. And I really want to make them feel like they're the only student in the program at that moment in time. And so I really try to dig deep and really understand their pains, their problems, their struggles, whatever they're dealing with, and really pull from that and remember where I was, when I had those feelings and when I had those struggles and when I was going through those times, and really try to give really solid, actionable advice that they can take to move them to that next step, and that's what I really focus in on. And it's really giving them exactly what they need in the moment to get them over that hump, to get them over that hurdle, and get them those quick wins or get them on to the next thing that they need to really focus in on. And so, again, it's definitely a passion of mine. It's something that I care deeply about. I love helping. Like I said, I love mentoring, love sharing my own experience, and giving whatever knowledge I have, downloading whatever's in my head, and sharing that without reservation. So,
yeah. And seeing the progress too.
Yes.
Don't you think?
Oh, definitely.
Seeing the progress is the biggest piece. When you see somebody that takes a strategy, or you get on a call with them, and I've gotten many calls with you too, for me. And by the way, I should say this to everybody. Like when I have an issue in the agency on a specific topic, I go to the subject matter experts in Remote Millionaires to help us in our business about these topics. I mean, we use the support infrastructure ourselves. That's basically the reason we built it. We built it so that we could have a place where we could get the help that we needed too. Like, for example, I mentioned Laura Thompson. She's our team building and leadership and culture expert, right? That is her wheelhouse, subject matter expert on all those things. And as you grow your business and you're hiring people and you're working remotely, you're hiring contractors, you're trying to figure out how much to pay people, you're trying to figure out how to, because these are all things that you don't really realize that you need to figure out how to do when you start actually building a real business. How do I pay somebody, and how do I negotiate how to pay somebody, and how do I deliver, and how do I have that conversation? I don't know any of that stuff. And so at the different levels of scale, like right now with the 100K a month, I'm like, we're hiring all these people and we're doing all these things. I'm like, oh crap, I need to get on a call with Laura and talk about that a little bit, because I need some support. I have a lot of blind spots, in how I should proceed. And I don't want to make the wrong steps. I don't want to bring people in and try to build a culture in a business that's like, doesn't have or fall in line with the big picture ideas that I have. And so for me, the way I look at it is I would rather go to an expert and then get their opinion, because they've done it before. And then I can use that and not have to, what do they say? Measure twice, cut once. Is that it? Yeah.
That's what it is. Measure twice, cut once.
Same thing for the business, same thing. I want to take the most important next step, but I want to take the right step. And that's what really mentorship is all about.
Well, and sometimes too, when you're in that situation, like you're talking about, Nick, you're so busy doing the thing, right? That sometimes it's easy to not see the big picture. It's good to have someone that's not in the stuff doing the thing that can help you stay true to what the thing is you're doing, right? Because, sometimes you can be doing all that stuff and then you're like, I don't like the reality this has created for me, right? Like you want to do something different. So it's good to have that.
Yeah, I think a lot of times, when you're knee deep in it, you develop that tunnel vision. Like it sounds like that's what Tom was trying to say. Yeah, it's that tunnel vision around us, and we don't know, we can't see the big picture. We're so close to it, we can't step back. And sometimes, just having that soundboard, having those experts that you can call on that are not knee deep in it, that aren't in the day to day, that can kind of take a step back and see the big picture for what it is, and kind of see where you want to go with it, and just offer that advice. And I think that's one thing that I think we do really well in the RM program for our students. And in my mind, that's invaluable, because you can pay for a program, you can pay whatever you want for a program, get access to downloadable PDFs and checklists and SOPs and videos and all that, and that's great, and that can get you a good portion of the way there. But it really is that mentor aspect. It really is that subject matter expert that we have, that the members can call on at any point in time, that can really take that material, take the videos that you're watching, that material that you're absorbing, and then like actually apply it to your life, your specific situations, and the things that you're dealing with, to give you a solid action plan forward.
Yeah, it's so important. And I actually didn't really latch onto this concept until I got into business, or at least really take the approach that I have now, where, for example, if I want to learn a new skill, I'll just start there. If I want to get better at something, I will just start there. I will just try to find the most successful person I can at that, and I will pay them for that information. For example, I've been really working on these, I don't know, people that surf. There's this thing called the floater, when you drop in on a wave and then you jump up to the top of the wave and you float over the whitewash. Been really trying to get that nailed. And I've never had anybody teach or tell me how to surf before. And I'm like, you know what? Why wouldn't I just try to get a surf coach? And so I hired a guy a couple months ago. I'm like, dude, will you help me? And he's like, oh, I'll film you. I'll just film you. And so he's been filming all my waves. We got game tape, just like you would at football practice, just like you do.
That's great.
With somebody to help you with your sales and prospecting. That's what we do, right? We bring our sales and prospecting tape to our sales and prospecting coach, and we review what happened on the sales call. It's a concept that now I build into everything that I'm doing in my life. Growing the real estate portfolio, have a coach, have a developer who has crushed it in the real estate game in here in Hawaii. Why wouldn't I pay him for information on how to successfully operate so that I can shortcut my success time? So the principle applies on all levels.
Yeah, absolutely.
Golf swing next, or I definitely need a coach for that.
Oh man,
love it.
Yeah, man, I've done that for all kinds of things too. Like when I wanted to play golf, I went and took lessons first, right? Before I even went to the golf course, because that helps. I've done it for poker. I hired a poker coach for a while, right? Just to learn
Magic, right?
Magic, yep, man, tons of Magic people, mentors, when I was trying to do that professionally and all of that stuff. So yeah, writing, done it for writing. I spent a pretty good chunk of change on help with writing, so. And
I think the benefit or the reason why it works, if you really think about it, why does it work so well? It's because if you pick the right person, obviously, they've seen everything that you're about to see more than once, maybe 4 times, maybe 5 times. They have tried multiple things to solve that problem, whereas you have never tried anything before. You're trying to figure out what you can throw at it for the first time. And instead of having to do that, you can just go to this person and they're like, oh yeah, here's what you do. Here's 3 options. I tried this, that gave me this result. I tried this, that gave me that result. But for you, in your situation, this would be the best approach for you because you have this type of skill that you're very passionate about and you're good at. So why don't you lean into that? That is in at least for me, is the reason why coaching is so important. They have 10 different playbooks that they can give you for something you don't know anything about. Don't you think, Jason?
Oh yeah, 100%. Definitely. Yeah. It's funny because just listening to both of you talk, I mean, yeah, I can see the same thing in my own life, like different things that I've wanted to learn. But yeah, for whatever reason, it's kind of funny when you think about business. I feel like a lot of times we feel like we have to have all the answers, or we've got to know, like almost like I think for me, early on, obviously I didn't have a mentor and I didn't have somebody I could rely on early on, but I also had these feelings of I can just do it on my own. I can figure this out. I can do it on my own. And I don't know if that's like maybe an ego thing or what it was, but I think once I finally got over that and I asked for help, I mean, I was catapulted forward, like light years ahead, avoiding all the pitfalls, all the mistakes, and just getting the end result. So yeah, I think, why wouldn't you apply it in business? I mean, just like you would in anything else that you're trying to learn. I think there's a lot that can be learned there. A lot of lessons, again, avoiding those pitfalls, those mistakes. Not only can they be very costly, but financially they can be costly, but they can also be costly in time as well. And time is one of those things that we don't get back, right? Time is that finite thing in life that we only have so many hours, so many days, right? So many years. And that's, once it's gone, it's gone. We can't get that back. So if somebody has that knowledge and we can gain access to that knowledge, that experience, those mistakes, why wouldn't we tap into that?
Yeah. Absolutely. Hey, one thing I'm sitting here, Nick, and I'm listening to what you guys are saying, and I'm looking at the title of this live: how to set up an online honeypot that attracts high ticket clients. And I realize we haven't even talked about that. Did they just not change the title? Is that from last week? Anyway, one of the things the reason I mentioned that is because
yeah, go ahead.
It's from last week, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. Like, I don't know why the title of
we can talk about it though.
Yeah, the reason I brought that up, because our thing is like so this is what I wanted to talk about, because the agency just had its first $100,000 month. So let's talk about some of these little things that we put in place that have made that happen. So there are two things that I think are important to remember. So when Nick and I were first getting our agencies going and we were starting to get traction, right? We were doing things like agency growth machine. Like, that's a method that we were doing very early on that we continue to do to this day. Nick was also learning SEO. And I think this is an important thing to point out to people. Like, if you need to learn a skill. So Nick wanted to learn SEO. So the way he learned it was by doing it on his own agency site. Now, in all fairness, I told Nick he was crazy. I was like, why do all that work when we can just go out and like do direct sales and get clients now? And he's like, no, I want to do it. But today, like, he's the one laughing at me because he now has an agency that ranks. They're number one if you search for Maui SEO. He gets inbound leads from that all the time, right? And he's built that up as we've done that other stuff as well. So inside of RM though, like, one of the things that we do there is, if you don't know how to do a skill like SEO or social media or something like that, right? Like, we have this process in RM where we find people to do the fulfillment for us, but we don't spend any of our own money. And what's interesting about this process is, you may think like, well, why would I try to find somebody to do something for me if I don't even have a client and I don't even know how to do it? Well, actually doing that process educates you and get you to learn what you need to know to sell and be able to deliver that product. So whenever we have somebody in RM, go find a fulfillment person, they have to ask that person questions about, like, what are they offering? What is it? What's the cost going to be to them? Like, what's included in the packages? That, by the way, is all the information that you need as an agency owner to craft your packages and your pricing, and then be able to turn around and prospect. But now, because you know exactly what you're selling and what's included and what it like, and you know that the quality is going to be good, like, you can have confidence in going out and selling that. And if you're somebody who's new and you've never had a client, you can actually leverage your fulfillment people's portfolio as examples of what you're doing because they're actually who you're using, right? So that's just kind of an example of the process that we do there. What else would you add to that, Nick? Like, what are some of the things that you think are maybe the difference between, getting the agency to where it was to transitioning into this, this 100K a month thing that you're doing?
Yeah. I mean, it's just like you said at the beginning of, I almost called this a webinar, of this jam session. we had set things up foundationally, Jason, really well, so that we were coasting at around $100,000 a year for a long time. And I mean, it's mind blowing to say that we're making $100,000 a month now in the agency, but we had things set up in a way where we really used only I only use like 10% of my time to dive into that business at about $100,000 a year, which, automotive mechanic, I was making like $45,000 a year. I mean, an unbelievable change in what I was doing to be able to, bring in revenue. But as you mentioned at the beginning live, so if you're good with six figures and you want to just coast at that level, totally doable. If you get there and you're like, oh, I want to go past this, that's also doable. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're not making 100K per month and you would like to get your income up with an agency, you should go watch that training, offlinesharks.com/6figure months. The link scrolling around the bottom there, because what we talk about in doing is reverse engineering really what we're doing to have that and sustain that 100K per month agency. And so really it kind of breaks down and boils down to, the three pillars, which are client getting, fulfillment, and systems and operations, right? You have to have all three of those things to have a successful digital marketing agency, a remote marketing agency that allows you to work from wherever. And the big piece that allowed us to scale from 100K per year to 100K per month, which happened very quickly, was really just automating the sales and prospecting and having people come in to help us do outbound outreach, prospect, send emails, talk to business owners, and then bring them in as paying customers. And, in the last 6 months, we've brought in over 40 new business owners on subscription services. That's wild, right? I didn't close one of those deals, not one. Maybe one. Maybe one. I'm like, maybe one. Maybe I closed one.
Yeah.
But other than that, just one. None of the rest. So, really at the end of the day, like, it's a system for the client getting. It's a system for the prospecting. It's a system for the fulfillment, that everybody in our organization knows how to do. We have these systems in place. And then, obviously we give all the remote millionaires our systems. We give you all those systems, and then back to the support infrastructure, the mentorship, the coaching. It's really for us, for Jason, for me, for Tom, for Laura, for Norm and JT and Lucy. It's all about, and our concierges, Kai and Celia, it's all about giving you the support that you need to implement those systems in our agency. Who here is interested in that? Who would be interested in that? Type me in the chat if you would be interested in that. I'm curious. I know we have RM members here. I know we have Offline Sharks here. There are probably some of you, just after me saying that, I'm sure, would probably be interested in that. I see Kyle says me, a Facebook user says me, somebody says Mew. So for those of you that are typing me, I highly encourage you to, after this this live jam session, damn it, this jam session that's going to end in 10 minutes, go ahead and open up that link that you see at the bottom of your screen. And there's a video on that page. You can watch that video. There's a training, and then there's an application to join Remote Millionaires. It's free. It takes 2 minutes to apply, and you apply, and we'll get on the call. Tom and I, our other ambassadors, are taking calls, and just we want to hear more about your business, where you're at, and if you would even make sense to join Remote Millionaires. I spoke to a couple people yesterday myself. There are a couple people that I thought, like, they have traction in doing what they want to do, and they weren't quite ready to join Remote Millionaires yet. and I let them know that, like, there's nothing wrong. I was like, you should do these 3 things. While I was there, I gave them some action steps. I said, you should do these 3 things. And when you get to this point, come back around and we'll talk again. So, these strategy sessions that you can get on with us and our ambassadors, there's a lot of value in that too. You're taking your first step in filling out our support infrastructure when you get on one of these strategy sessions.
Yeah, sorry, I had to sneeze there. That's why I had to mute and walk off camera. I didn't want to hurt your flow. But one thing, yeah, definitely you should. I mean, you're absolutely right. I was just thinking about this today. Like, look, the point of that call, like Nick said, is not to be in some, like, our point is to help you, right? Like, we want to help everybody we get on the phone with. And, sometimes that means like, hey, yeah, like this looks like a great fit and I think you'll crush it with this. But other times too, it's like, hey, there's a few things you probably want to do before you get to this point. And we're more than happy to lay that stuff out for you. Right. So yeah, awesome. Yeah. By the way, the Honeypot Method is the paid ads training that we have inside of RM. Right? That's right. That's what they were talking about.
Which is still crushing it. Like, Megan, our salesperson, is actually dealing with all those bees coming in from that honeypot right now. She did message me this morning, and she was telling me that, like, she has a couple of actually that she's talking to right now that are on a scale of 1 to 10 being 100% certainty that this client is going to be closed and come in. She says that they are at a 6 or a 7, which anytime you're over a 5, those are good numbers.
That's good. That's good.
Well,
awesome. What questions?
Exactly. Let's take some questions.
I want some questions.
I see Frank asked if it's time for his glorious return, and I think it is. Frank, jump back in. I'm trying to scroll here.
Oh, Frank the Tank. That's right. Frank the Tank. I'm trying to look up here and see. Look, and two, by the way, for anybody who is on this call and you're like, well, maybe it's, all right, I'll talk about an uncomfortable subject.
Uh-oh.
Let's talk about finances. Okay. Uh-oh. Which, by the way, like, I want to be fully transparent. When I was getting my agency off the ground, I actually had negative working capital. Okay. Like, not only did I not have working capital, I had negative working capital. Maybe you are in that same situation, right? Maybe you're in that same situation. So there are 2 ways to handle that situation. So there were 2 things that experience did for me. Number 1, it lit a fire under my butt to take some action and generate some cash because I freaking had no other choice, right? So, I actually started implementing the things I was learning. There's nothing wrong with being in that situation. You can absolutely bootstrap your way out of that situation. If you are in that situation, you either have to do something where you light a fire and you get going, right? Make yourself uncomfortable so you start taking some action, or just start taking some action, right? So I would recommend, if you're in that situation, that you look at, go through our group and just search for the wins and look at what services people are selling and what they're doing to get those wins. Like, that can be a really good start, right? And then we have a ton of resources inside our community that you don't have to pay a dime for. Like, I mean, there's even the Shark Alliance thing. Like, I think you can even get into that thing for adult. Like, it's just great. Like, the resources are there, right? You just got to put a little bit of elbow grease in to get those and do that. So, like, don't fret. Don't be like, oh man, like, this is not doable. It's totally doable. You just got to come at it from a little bit of a different angle.
Yeah. I mean, your why needs to be very big. We hear that all the time, right? And in these different podcasts and YouTube videos, and I'm sure there's a lot of books out there that say your why, that the reason you're doing this needs to be so big that, it wakes you up at night and it motivates you. And that's what is going to motivate you to take consistent action each day, even when you're tired or hungover or whatever. I don't know. Whenever the odds are against you, and that happens, whenever the resistance is against you, and it happens for me and everybody else, right? Every day, and more on some days and less on other days. But yeah, your why does need to be pretty, big. It needs to be, and so get clear on that. If you're struggling to actually take action, you're feeling a little like slow with it, like, why are you doing this? And usually when your house is about to burn down, that's like the why that most people take in order to start doing something that's uncomfortable for them. And if you can right now, maybe like this is your moment where you don't have to let your house burn down in order to take that next step. You can take that step ahead.
Yeah. The why is definitely important. I also think that you have to have skin in the game, right? Like you have to have skin in the game, For me, like one of the things that I did when I was in that situation was like, I went and I bought, this is so crazy. I bought a product that was more expensive than anything else I'd ever bought in my life. Right? Like, and it's so funny because it was like, I think it was $100, which I didn't even have I didn't have an extra $100, right? But I scraped it together somehow to buy this freaking thing because I thought this will help. And it did. I used that method that I paid $100 for. I went out that week because I was like, man, I put this money in this. I got skin in the game. I just went out and did whatever I had to do. And, in that week, I got like 14 clients from that thing. So like for me, having that, being in that situation and then, having skin in the game was like super important to me. And it was super uncomfortable. Like I did not feel like it wasn't like a light and you know what I mean? It was super uncomfortable. But man, when I came out of that, I was stronger, right? I was stronger mentally. I was stronger. Like I knew I had traction. Like my wife was finally like, oh my God, this can work. Right?
Never mind, I don't want a divorce. I was going to ask you for a divorce. It's all good.
Yeah. Change your mind. Oh my God, this can work. Now, I then proceeded to make like every mistake you could make as a new entrepreneur because I thought I was an entrepreneur, but discovered quickly I wasn't. But I was able to, all of that was a learning process, right? All of that was a learning process.
Yeah. I think, an investment in yourself is one of the best investments any of us can ever make. It's one thing to go into debt for, buying a car or going into debt, buying clothes or, just useless items. But we've all been there. We've all had struggles. We've all had ups. We've all had downs. We've been in places where we were financially strapped and struggling. I think if you're in that situation, really think about, if you have the means and, if you have the ability, even if it is temporary debt, temporary credit card debt or whatever it is, having that, going into that where you're with an investment in yourself. I think there's something to be said for that. That's a situation where, I think in that type of situation, it's okay. It's okay to do those types of things, to bet on yourself. And that's an investment. Again, I think that's one of the greatest investments you can ever make is in yourself. And if it really is a struggle, like Tom said, that's going to light a fire under you, that's definitely going to push you forward and get you to make sales and get uncomfortable very, very quickly in order to get yourself out from under that.
Yeah, here, I want to take this question because here was, look at this question. So Mike says he's in the Shark Alliance. What about it? He says, I spend so much time reaching out to clients in needs, but they get spammed by salespersons, so they don't take me seriously. So I have a follow-up questions to this, Michael, and I saw Norm ask one of them in the comments, so maybe you can put it in there, but I would be curious to know, like, what outreach method are you doing? Like, are you just trying to do, I know everybody loves cold email, right? Because they think, oh, I don't actually have to talk to anybody. Like, I'll just send out some emails. In our experience, it's very difficult to make that work unless you're doing other things in association with it. So that's one thing, right? I also, when you say like their needs, well, what does that mean? Like, what needs are you targeting, right? Like we have some very specific strategies, like maybe you want to, like what needs are you targeting? Like, what do you mean by, they have needs? Like a lot of the time what we do is look for people that, one, are already spending money on advertising, and two, have a problem that we know we can fix, right? And then we'll target them that way. And then persistence in the follow-up is really, really key, right? Like persistence in the follow-up is super key.
And we talk about, if you have, it sounds like this person hasn't seen the training. You definitely get a lot of value in checking that out. Like we talk a lot about this, a lot about like getting clients and prospecting and the methods. I even give you, two things actually. We have a $500 giveaway that's still active and live on that. So if you go to that training and you watch it, there's a way for you to win from a $500 giveaway. And then two, there's also several email templates that I give people on that training that we actually use to get clients and we have used.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, obviously the training in itself is great. I put so much work into that. I can't tell, like I had been preparing for that training for probably 2 weeks. And physically like going into my slides and working them out and, what do I want people to think about here? And how can I give them the best information I can at this part of the presentation? And probably even before actually physically making those slides, I was working the presentation out in my mind for 2 or 3 weeks before that, mentally preparing, like, what is the message that I want to share with people and how can I help them the most from being on this training? So, if you haven't seen it yet, again, go check it out. offlinesharks.com/6figure months. We talk about, we we let everybody know that we opened up Remote Millionaires again. We're going to be taking 25 people to 6 figures in the next 6 months. And we have a new pricing model that we're offering. There's nothing to buy on the training. It's all training. If you want to apply to Remote Millionaires, we're going to take applications for a little while more. And, Tom and I are getting on the calls too. We'd love to talk with you, hear more about where you're at with your business, and obviously bring a few more people in. And, they're going to be working with Jason. They're going to be working with Tom, me, the rest of our subject matter experts. And we're going to be, you're going to be seeing these people that join in our Facebook group. You're going to be seeing them on the shout outs. You're going to be seeing them getting traction live within this community. And it's because they are making a commitment to take action, but they're going to be taking action on the most important next step, following a successful model, because we're living that model right now. And we're just going to tell them what to do based off of what we're doing right now. So if that's you, again, go check it out. 6 figure months.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, awesome, man. What a great live show. Oh, we do have one thing that we like to do on here too, right?
That we like to do. Nobody knows that we like to do it.
Well, one more thing.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, money, money.
Dollar, dollar. Dollar, dollar. Ching, ching, bling, bling. Got the chatter. You ain't talking money, then you're talking no matter.
How's it go? How does that laugh go? I can't even do it. Look at
You're laughing. We all know it's your laugh.
I can't even do it. I can't even do it.
Put a 1 in the chat if you heard Tom laughing in the background of that.
All right.
I see our 2 winners. Our 2 winners for the Cash App giveaway that we do every jam session. If you missed this one, you want to get in the next one, you'll want to show up and congratulate the people that we did shout outs with at the beginning of the live stream. You go to the Facebook post, you give them a congrats, and then we pick 2 people at random at the end of the stream. And our winners this week are Donna Norris and James. I'm not going to be able to say your last name. James T. Shoshana, if you can.
James T.
You already did. Thank you. James T. and Donna Norris, congrats. Appreciate you giving our shout out people a big congrats and helping support them. And if you have wins, if you have some wins, if you close some deals or you talk to some people and you feel like you had a win in your business, come back to the community and share about it with us. We love to see that. We love to celebrate it with you.
Yeah, awesome. And Jason, thanks so much for hanging out with us, taking questions,
Of course,
and doing all that stuff. Lots of fun.
Yeah, it's been great.
We need to get you on these live streams more with us, man. It's good having you here.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, what about next week, Jason?
shop.
Are you available next week? Can you come next Friday?
Let's do it. I'm down.
Okay, all right,
I'm
awesome.
ready.
All right, there you go. All right. Listen, everybody, thanks so much for tuning in with us, hanging out with us. Great questions. Always love getting the weekend started with you guys. Stay safe out there and practice aloha. And we'll see you here next week. Same shark time, same shark channel. Talk to you later, everybody.
Cool.
Oh, remember, go watch the training.
Go watch training.
You've been watching the Aloha Marketing Jam Session, your weekly marketing live show, always bringing you the latest strategies and tactics to build your remote empire from anywhere in the world. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this stream. You can stay up to date throughout the week with the Remote Millionaires Podcast at remotemmillionaires.com/podcast and Nick's YouTube videos at nickponte.com/YouTube. We'll be back here next Friday for another live show. Until then, aloha.